So hello and welcome to the Podcast Engineering Show. My name is Chris Curran. I produce podcasts for companies and I teach at Podcast Engineering School. On this show, we discuss podcast audio production in depth. Yes, podcast audio production. We alternate between interviews with podcast producers and engineers and Daily Goody episodes like this one, where I'm going to present 10 of the Daily Goody blog posts that I write every day. And you can sign up to receive these daily goodies via your email, either daily or as a weekly roundup. And you can sign up at podcastengineeringschool.com. By the way, the next semester of Podcast Engineering School starts on September 15th, 2020. And I also have some things to say. There was a competition that I was organizing, but then it was canceled. It was the Podcast Audiolympics, and I have some things to say about that, but I'm going to discuss that at the end of this episode. But first, did you know what the world's best-selling USB interface is? Or what range of interfaces is the best-selling? You guessed it. The Focusrite Scarlett series, right? The third gen is out, the third generation of the Focusrite Scarlett line. There's 6 different interfaces with 1 microphone input, 2 microphone inputs, 4 microphone inputs, or even 8 microphone inputs. So however many inputs you need, you can get that. They sound really good, and they work with whatever recording software you're already using, and works with any type of XLR microphone, so it does have phantom power if you have a condenser mic. And it has this loopback feature, which is software you can have on your computer, where you can actually record Skype or Zoom calls directly into your software with no workarounds. This loopback feature lets you do that. And there's the new Air feature, the Air button on these Scarlett third gen interfaces. It adds brightness and presence to your voice. I will link to the Scarlett line of interfaces in the show notes, so definitely check it out. Focusrite is a sponsor of this show, and we really appreciate Focusrite, so thank you to Focusrite. Okay, let's get into the daily goodies. We're going to start with May 8th, which is an iZotope article that I linked to. 8 tips for editing dialogue with RX7. So there's 8 tips here for editing dialogue. It's not, a lot of it is dialogue for like video or, movies and stuff, but a lot of it does apply to podcast production. So the 8 tips for editing dialogue with RX7. And by the way, RX7 is software from iZotope, which is really awesome. So I'll go through them really quickly. Number 1 is dialogue contour for finishing a sentence. So anyway, there's this module in there called dialogue contour, and you can actually change the pitch of a voice. So if someone, let's say you want to make an edit, but someone, they left off the sentence and their pitch went up, like I just did, it went up, almost like they're asking a question. The pitch goes up at the end. If someone's pitch goes up at the end like that, the end of a sentence or the middle of a sentence, the listener expects them to keep going, right? So if you cut them right there and they end on going up, it sounds really weird. So with this dialogue contour, believe it or not, you can take that last word and pitch it down so it doesn't go up anymore. Up, it doesn't go up anymore. It'll just go down like they're finishing a sentence and finishing their thought. Anyway, it's pretty cool. Number 2, de-rustling a lav mic. So a lot of times these lavalier microphones, if you have them on your clothing or even underneath your clothing, the clothing can rub on the mic and cause that rustling sound. Anyway, they make de-rustling, so they can actually remove that pretty well. Dialogue de-reverb to place actors in different locations. So if someone records in a room where there's reverb, but then let's say you need to put them in a car, or you want them to sound like they're in a car, you have to remove that room reverb first, or else it won't sound right. I mean, again, not really for podcasting, but very interesting for audio production. They also have ambience match and EQ match, which is handy because if you record the same person speaking at two different dates or something, you need to EQ match them, you can. There's debleed, which you can use. Mouth declicking, obviously. And then you can add mouth clicks back in if you want to make someone... This is really weird. If you want to make someone sound more horrible or... Not horrible. What word did they use? Oh, creepy. If you want to like make someone sound a little more creepy, you can actually use the mouth declick in a certain way to then add in more clicks to make them sound more creepy. All right, weird. And then the last one is spectral editing for random complex noise. So in RX7, there's a spectral display where you can see the frequencies, and so it's really cool. You can if there's a weird noise like a car honk, you can literally almost just highlight it or circle it and just delete it. It's pretty cool. Anyway, those are some of the tips for dialogue editing with RX. Moving on to the next daily goody, people, process, tools. Actually, people, period, process, period, tools, period. Okay, so these three things, people, process, tools. When it comes to efficiency and success in business, a wise man named Josh Wade, he once taught me these three words, people, process, tools. And he stressed that that's the order of their importance in business, right? People are the most important. Then process is the next important. And then tools is the least important of those three. So anyway, I just thought that was an interesting way to frame that, especially if you're in business. You know, we have to value people the most, and then we have to get our processes down to be efficient, right? And then the tools is the last thing on the list. It's like, I mean, I say this all the time with audio production. Like, I mean, I use Reaper as my multi-track DAW, but if you put a gun to my head and say, oh, well, from now on, you got to use Adobe Audition. Okay, fine. I mean, I can use it. It's a tool, right? It's not going to, I don't have to stop doing my show because I switched DAWs, right? So anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. Thanks, Josh Wade from Texas, the big Texan. All right. Next daily goody is Amplitude. And Amplitude is, I linked to a definition at sweetwater.com, which is pretty cool. But Amplitude is... I'll read it from the article because it just says it better. I mean, I'm not like a scientist, right? In physics and electronics, amplitude is literally the maximum absolute value of a periodically varying quantity. So the periodic varying quantity is the level of a voice. So a voice can get loud, can get soft, can get loud, soft, all that, right? It's a varying volume, basically, or loudness. And the amplitude is the maximum of that. So it's kind of like how loud something is, right? That's what the amplitude is. It's again, more scientific than that, but and it also says here, in layman's terms, it is the strength of a signal or sound with regards to its content. So again, it's loudness, but it's more scientific than that. The higher the wave goes, the louder it sound. The louder a sound is, the higher the amplitude, right? The bigger the amplitude. All right. I know I didn't describe that perfectly, but you all get it. I mean, again, and these daily goodies are just little tidbits to just expand our knowledge day by day, little by little over time. All right. The next daily goodie is the iRig Pro Duo I/O. Okay, so the iRig Pro Duo I/O. It's a portable audio interface, actually. It has 2 XLR inputs, and it can deliver phantom power, so you can actually use condenser mics with it. And it's compatible with iPhones, iPads, Android devices, and of course Mac and PCs. And it uses a Lightning, USB-C, and USB-A cables. I don't know if it uses all of them simultaneously, but anyway, it's it's a very small interface. So like if you ever wanted to just bring 2 microphones somewhere and maybe even record on your phone, like this iRig Pro Duo I/O would be great for that. So anyway, it's a cool thing. And also Alan Tepper wrote an article covering this piece of gear, and I linked to that in the Daily Goody post. All right, next Daily Goody, best USB hubs for connecting various devices. All right, so we all know that if you're going to connect a bunch of USB devices into your computer, you usually need a USB hub, right? Especially with these newer Mac computers, they don't have any inputs. Well, they have one. It's like they have one USB-C port. That's it. And so if you want to plug in different things, you got to get a hub, a USB hub. And there's all different ones. I'm not going to get into it. I linked to an article in the Daily Goody. If you are looking for a good hub, definitely check out this link because, there's a lot of different choices and different functionality and whatever quality, So just good to know if you are looking to buy a hub. Okay, next one is, this is episode 182 with Hannes Anderson from OX Sound, which I hope you heard that episode. That was awesome. Next Daily Goody. Reaper can record to 2 different drives simultaneously. Yeah, Reaper can record to 2 different drives simultaneously. So this is, it almost seems like literally every week I'm reading things and learning things about Reaper. Reaper is just an amazing DAW. Michael Jerry of Mighty Productions, he discovered this recently and he told me about it. He's a graduate of Podcast Engineering School as well. And he told me about this. So thanks, Michael, for for providing this good information for a Daily Goody. And yeah, so if you want to record a backup or record in 2 different places, meaning you can record on your regular computer hard drive, but then maybe you can plug in like a jump drive, a USB drive and record on that as well. So because, sometimes it makes people feel better to record in 2 places at once. Like me, I like to record in 3 places, but you know what I mean? So anyway, for backups, for safety reasons, it's good. So anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. I actually didn't even look up how to do it, but in the Daily Goody post that I'm talking about, I linked to, there's a couple videos. So definitely check that out. And just a reminder, all these Daily Goody posts that I'm talking about are on the website, podcastengineeringschool.com. And you just click at the top, it says Daily Goody, and you can see them all. And we started at May 8th, and we're working our way up to May 21st. So those are the dates we're covering. Next one, asking remote guests to close all unnecessary applications before recording. Yeah, so when guests connect with a host remotely to be a guest on a podcast, as we all know, most of these guests, they have no idea about audio. They don't have a microphone. Like, they don't know anything. They don't have any gear. And so we have to help them make sure that they still, are recorded properly and at least sound decent. And one of the things to do is ask them to close all unnecessary applications before they start recording. Because if you're using something like Squadcast or Zencaster, like those services record the guest's audio locally. But if on their local machine, if they have like 79 programs running and their computer is just dragging terribly, that's going to affect the recording, or it could. And in extreme cases, it will affect the recording. So it's just good for guests. Just close everything. Whatever you're not using, close it. You might need Chrome open for Squadcast or Zencaster. And you might need maybe Microsoft Word if you have notes or something to read from. That's it. You don't need everything open. You don't need to be logged into your email. You don't need to be syncing your Dropbox, right? All that stuff. So anyway, that's a good thing to remind guests of. Next Daily Goody is Auphonic's mobile app. So we all know Auphonic. If you go to auphonic.com, a lot of people use Auphonic to level their final episodes and create the MP3 and tag their MP3. Auphonic does a lot. But they have a mobile app, and it's a recording app, basically. And I love it. If I'm anywhere and I want to record audio on my phone, I love using the Auphonic app. It's actually called Auphonic Edit. That's the actual name of the app. So if you go to the App Store and search for Auphonic Edit. And, that's for Android. For iOS, it's called Auphonic Recorder. Okay, so iOS is Auphonic Recorder. And I use it to capture uncompressed audio. You can record, 24-bit, 48 kilohertz right onto my phone. Anyway, I like it. It's easy to use. I like recording things, just random things in high-resolution audio and then uploading them to my Google Drive. One thing I will say is there's no control over the recording level. It must do it automatically. I don't know how it does it, though. I didn't look into it that far. But when I first started recording with it, I was like, ooh, I want to turn down the recording level. And I couldn't. But, again, just for recording random sounds, it seems to work fine. But I don't know if there's a way to control the input level, which is weird, right? I mean, if it's a recording app, they should give you a control, like a dial or something, where you can reduce the input level, right? At least reduce it, if, maybe not boost it more, but at least be able to reduce it if it's too loud. Yeah, and Alan Tepper commented here that he's reviewed both versions. So actually, maybe in his reviews, you'll see it. So if you go to the post and look at Alan Tepper's comment, he links to his reviews right in the comment section. Next Daily Goody is, limiter versus compressor. Limiter versus compressor. One way to think about it. Okay, so a compressor does general leveling of louder parts and quiet parts. And I actually spelled quiet wrong. I spelled it quite. Oh, that's terrible. I'm going to go fix that after I record this. Okay, anyway. So a compressor does general leveling of louder parts and quiet parts, right? It pushes the louder parts down and reduces the dynamic range, right? But a limiter pretty much just chops off those transients, the loud parts. It'll just literally chop it off. Now, it does it in a nice way. It doesn't like distort or sound terrible. It sounds fine, but that's what a limiter does. It's like a brick wall that if the sound goes up to that level, it just gets chopped off. It can't pass that level. So that's an oversimplification, but it's a good way to think about it because limiters and compressors, they're part of the same family, reducing dynamic range. That's what they both do, but they do it a little differently. So I don't know. I thought that was an interesting. And then Mike Thomas commented on this post. He said, I heard one explanation as the difference between using a sander and a plane on a piece of rough wood, right? So a sander is more gentle, but a planer that just chops just planes the wood right off, right? Anyway, if you're into woodworking, you'll get that reference. Thanks, Mike. Okay, next Daily Goody. Oh, this is our last one? Yeah, it's our last one for today. The best way to edit someone's long pauses for thinking or hesitations or awkward cadence. All right, I'll read that again. The best way to edit someone's long pauses for thinking, hesitations, or awkward cadence. So some podcast hosts and guests, they have a speech pattern where they'll just stop and, pause for a little longer than seems natural. So, and sometimes it's because they're literally thinking. Like they don't know the answer to the question. They're trying to answer a question and they don't know the answer. So they're literally sitting there thinking, which is completely natural. So the question is, how do you edit that in post-production? Because if you just cut out all that space, it might sound weird. Now, it might not, but it might sound weird. So maybe you cut out half the space, or again, it depends. So if you want to, if the listener should get the impression that the guest is thinking of their answer, then you got to leave at least a little space in there. So anyway, this is totally a case-by-case thing here, right? Like literally every one would be different, and you have to listen to it and see how it sounds. And even sometimes you might want to leave in a long pause that's uncomfortable. You might want that. So anyway, it's just interesting to think about that. Regular, there are times when you would just cut it out. Like if someone says, and then they pause for a while. In that case, you could probably cut out the and all the space and it would sound just fine. Because they're just, anyway, you get it. It's a case-by-case thing. So I just thought that was an interesting topic there. And I also asked, what do you think of these issues? And yeah, a couple people commented, Mike Thomas and Chris Duckett. Thanks, guys, for commenting on the posts. So go check out what they said about it if you would like to do that. And okay, so I want to briefly address the Podcast Audiolympics, which I was organizing. Oh, before I get to that, if you want to receive the daily goodies in your email, you can receive it every day, or you can receive a weekly roundup email. So you get one email a week with 5 daily goodies in it. It's up to you. So just go to podcastengineeringschool.com and sign up for it if you want. It's in the sidebar. You'll see it. Now, the Podcast Audiolympics, I thought it was a very good idea I had for a nice, fun competition. And I was working on organizing it, and I had a lot of help, and it wasn't going to come together, so it was canceled. And so I just want to thank a few people who were part of organizing this, and I don't know if we're going to do it again, or try it again, or do it in the future. I was thinking we might do it in the fall, but I don't know. I've been in a weird mood ever since we canceled this, and couple other things happened, and I don't know. It's a weird time, right? Everything's weird now, right? But anyway, I would like to thank Steve Stewart and Mark Deal for helping me and partnering with me on the Podcast Audiolympics. Steve Stewart and Mark Deal, they run the Podcast Editors Club, and if you're not a member, it's on Facebook. It's a Facebook group, the Podcast Editors Club. If you're working on podcasts, doing any type of post-production, you should be part of that group. It's a great group. And they also run the Podcast Editor Academy, which is an awesome academy. I think it's like a yearly subscription model where you pay to be part of the academy, and then you get, throughout the year, you get all kinds of training and good stuff. So go check out Podcast Editor Academy. I'd also like to thank Carrie Caulfield Eric. She helped a lot with her Just Busters group, getting some females on board to participate in the competition again, which it didn't happen. We canceled it, but Carrie Caulfield Eric, thank you. And her company is Yaya Podcasting, and she was actually a guest on this show, episode 127. If you want to go back and hear me and Carrie, episode 127, we had a really good talk. So thank you, Carrie. Sorry it didn't work out. And our 3 sponsors, Focusrite, SonarWorks, and OIC Sound. So thank you to all 3 sponsors. I somehow got lucky. I reached out to these 3 awesome companies, and they gave amazing prizes. So I'm hoping if we do this in the future that they will again offer those prizes, because it was amazing. Like it's so funny. Like, you think when you organize an event that you think the hard part is going to be getting sponsors to give prizes and stuff. In this case, that was the easy part. The hard part was getting everyone to understand what the heck we were doing and why it's cool. And there was just almost zero response to the Podcast Audiolympics from, Facebook groups totaling over 6,500 members in the podcasting space. And we posted in these groups several times and literally got almost no response. So anyway, that was my mistake in organizing all this, that I thought people would be interested in this, but apparently they're not. And that's my mistake. Also, the 5 players we had confirmed, I apologize that we had to cancel it and we're not going through with it. So I don't know, just kind of a weird thing. I don't know what to say. Like, I have ideas of cool stuff, and perhaps if we did it, it would have been cool, but it just, the marketing and like everything that goes along with it, I completely failed at. So whatever, I don't know. I'm trying to learn from it and see what we can do in the future, if anything, but we'll see what happens. So anyway, just wanted to address that and say thank you to all these folks that were helping out. Steve Stewart, Mark Deal, and Carrie Caulfield, Eric. Appreciate you guys a lot. Really do. Also, the Podcasters Lounge Facebook group. I don't know if you're a part of that, but that's a Facebook group I started. It's literally just a lounge, like just a chill hangout place for podcasters and their fans and stuff. It's a Podcasters Lounge, and we were doing live streams every week for about the past 4 months, and but for the summer, we're not going to do any live streams. So we're just going to take a break from the Podcasters Lounge as well. And anyway, there was a little weird thing that happened there as well, which I don't know. I don't really feel like addressing it here on this show because it's not very pertinent. But anyway, and then the other last thing I want to mention is Podcast Engineering School. I am going to be coming up with some shorter courses. So right now the school just offers one main course and it includes everything. But many people have asked me if I'm going to do smaller courses, shorter courses. So I am going to do that. I'm going to break things up into pieces. And that way, if you just want to learn about, EQ, you can purchase that course, or I don't know, or compression. Maybe that'll be its own course. Maybe I'll do EQ and compression as one course. I don't know. I really don't know what I'm going to do yet. I should probably put out a poll, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what response the poll would get or how accurate it would be. So I don't know. But anyway, just want to let you know that's upcoming. So, all right. Well, thank you for listening to the Podcast Engineering Show. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you tune in next week. I have 2 guest episodes already recorded and mixed and done, and they're awesome. I can't wait for you guys to hear the episode next week. So, all right. Thanks for listening. And of course, as always, if you ever have any questions about podcast production or gear or anything, you can always contact me through the website. Just go to the website and there's a contact us page. Just click on contact and send me a note. Even if you just want to say hi or whatever, So go podcastengineeringschool.com and just the contact page. All right, I'm done. I feel like I've rambled. All right, I hope you guys are having a great summer. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.